Guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the last video in our series of training efficiency. In this video we will discuss moment arm and stability to achieve training efficiency. Why we want to adjust the moment arm and increase the stability of the workout is basically primarily two reasons. Number one is limiting muscle. What do I mean by limiting muscle? Limiting muscle means whenever we are doing a workout, we want the target muscle which we are working to be the limiter muscle for the performance. That means the target muscle needs to fail first before you have cardiovascular failure or any other secondary muscles which are involved fails, so that whatever load you are applying during the workout, that is maximally or optimally applied to the target muscle which you are working. Second, you want to look at the stability and you want to look at the moment arm so that there is less joint stress. I mean, when we are performing the workout, we want the muscles to be involved rather than the joints to be stressed. So this will basically help us in longevity and also optimally stimulate our muscle. What is moment arm? Moment is another name for the word torque. Torque is force into distance, right? So moment arm is basically the distance of the load. I mean, this is the bicep curl. If we do a bicep curl, right? So this is the load, this is the distance, which is your elbow length. Your torque or your moment arm is this distance, and torque is basically the force which is required to move this load across this axis. Now, why we want to look at the moment arm? Because we can get the same amount of load or same amount of stimulus with a decreased load by just increasing the moment arm. This is very critical. Why? Because this will ensure that you will have less joint stress, and number two, you will have less cardiovascular fatigue. Right? So when you have less cardiovascular fatigue, you will be able to perform more, or the muscles will be able to hit failure first before you hit the cardiovascular fatigue. Now, torque is force into length. Now imagine if you can manage the same weight, like 5 kg, what you were doing before, just by increasing the moment arm, we will have more torque or more force or more stimulus for the muscle growth. This is again another concept for training efficiency, because remember what we said, we say training efficiency is to be able to change, adjust, adapt or modify exercises to get maximum hypertrophy stimulus. So another example, if I have to look at, heel elevated squat is a very good example. Now obviously this applies only if you're trying to target the quads with the squats. Okay, obviously when we are doing squats, the hams and the glutes are involved, but here if we are optimally trying to target the quads with the squats, then heel elevated is a very good example of adjusting the moment arm. What happens when I put my feet on a plate or elevated stand? Now when I do a normal squat, you will see that my knee is in a particular position, assuming your posture is right, your posterior chain is upright and you're doing in a perfect form. You see that the knee is at a particular position. If I put my feet up in elevated platform, you see that the knee is moving a bit forward. If you maintain the same posture, now just by increasing the moment arm, the quadriceps has to do more amount of work, right, to lift the same amount of weight. So with the same amount of weight, you are inducing more stimulus to the muscle growth, and probably you won't be able to lift, not probably actually, you won't be able to lift the same amount of weight on a heel elevated squat compared to a normal squat. So that means even with the decreased load, you are able to apply the same amount of stimulus to the muscle growth. Now if you can increase this weight, or even if you can match up to what you are doing in a regular squat, your stimulus is much more than doing a regular squat, right? But remember, we are here discussing only about quadriceps. So this is one example of adjusting the moment arm. It is applicable to many different exercises. You just have to see your joint position and the distance of the load from the joint to the muscle which is being worked. Second thing which we wanted to touch upon is the stability of the exercises, right? What do we mean by stability? That means when we are again going back to the main concept, delimiting or limiting the muscle. We want only the target muscle to be optimally stressed and fatigued first before any other muscles are fatigued or exhausted, right? Now example, if I am doing bicep curl, right? When I do a bicep curl, if the load becomes heavy, quite often we see that the people swing the weight and try to lift it up, right, with the hips or with the shoulders or with the elbows. So this is not actually optimally stressing the bicep. Compared to that, if I sit down on an inclined bench and I lock my shoulder, my hips and everything, then when I'm performing the bicep curl, my biceps becomes the limiter. That means the biceps are optimally stressed and the mechanical load is optimally applied only to the bicep, right? Another example, if I have to think of, is, let's say, the cable flies, right? If I perform a cable fly seated with a bench in a very in a locked position, then my chest muscles are optimally stressed, compared to if I do a standing cable flies, right? When the load becomes higher, you will see that we will lean forward or thrust with the hips, etc., to move the weight. Now this is not optimal, right? So this is why increasing the stability or looking at the stability of the workout will help us being efficient in the gym. So that's it, guys. Those are the three concepts which we wanted to discuss in this series. Again, recapping: number one, what we said, what is training efficiency? Training efficiency is being able to modify, set up, adapt any exercises so that the muscle which you are working becomes the delimiting muscle and are optimally stressed, so that they get the maximum hypertrophic stimulus. By doing all of this and the three concepts, what we are also ensuring that you don't have joint stress, you don't have cardiovascular fatigue before your muscle fatigues, right? We also look at the first video, which was why training the muscle at the Langdon positions is seen to give higher hypertrophic stimulus, and also by looking at the resistance profile, you should be able to select the exercise which provides more load at the Langdon position. That's about it in the training efficiency. If you like this series, do not forget to like, comment or subscribe to the channel. We'll try to come up with more concepts and what we have learned over the years. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.